I've run a 42U server rack in my garage for a very long time, and while this APC rack has served me well in the past, it no longer does, and it's time for an upgrade. Hey there, HomeLabbers, self-hosters, IT pros, and engineers. Rich here. I'm going to take you on a journey, friends. I've decided it's time to upgrade my server cabinet because it no longer meets my needs. And with the benefit of hindsight from using the existing one for literally years, I know exactly what I need to make my HomeLab hardware so much easier to work with and manage and look dead sexy in the process. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the planning, finding a replacement, planning the layout, doing the heavy lifting of moving all my gear from the old cab to the new one, and adding a few surprises along the way. Let's get to it. My existing APC rack has been a great cabinet, but it's never really fit my use case exactly because it's designed specifically for just holding servers. My HomeLab is a mix of servers and networking gear. My biggest complaint is just how hard it is to manage cabling. The edges of the cabinet directly meet the 19-inch rack mounting area, so the only way to manage cabling is either through a patch panel, which works fine for Ethernet connections to switches, or use brush pass-throughs to manage SFP twin-ax cables, which just looks messy and gross. My dream rack would have more width and vertical pass-throughs on the sides for cleanly routing cables. Then there's the back. I now have some big servers that extend farther back and come into contact with vertical PDUs, making it really hard to plug things in. This, plus the fact the cabinet has no means of passing through cables on the sides, means the back gets messy quickly and I have to play games to get stuff plugged and unplugged. So I set forth to find a better alternative than my existing rack. Thankfully, my requirements were pretty simple. Better cable management features, more width to provide more working space in the rear, and I think I'd like to switch it up and go with a white cabinet this time. So I started searching for the right server rack for me. And that's when I discovered a problem. The rack market is a mess. Random storefronts, questionable sellers, poor descriptions, and more, giving me no confidence in quality. And the ones I know that are quality, like APC or Triplite, I can't buy directly. I have to use a third party like CDW to purchase, and offerings from Chatsworth in the dimensions I want with the features I want were thousands of dollars. Ugh. As I kept searching, I continued to see a company called TecMojo continually popping up. Consistently, they came up as recommended by customers, and after some digging, I found the perfect rack here. This rack meets all of my needs. It's 42U high, just like my current rack, it's 31.5 inches wide and 43 inches deep, and it has vertical cable management up front, solving my cabling issues right from the start. Bonus, it's white. The more I looked at this cabinet, the more I frankly fell in love with it. Once I found the TecMojo cabinet in white, the vision for what this would become became crystal clear to me, and I was in love. I could just envision how incredible this build-out would be. I just need to get my hands on it to make my dream a reality. So I did what every self-respecting YouTuber would do. I reached out to TecMojo and offered to make a video on the cabinet and the experience in exchange for the hardware. And if they said no thanks, at least the price of the cabinet was affordable enough at $1,559, I could just buy it myself. Lucky for me, they loved the idea, and that leads me to this. Full disclosure, friends, TecMojo sent me this cabinet for free, which means this is a sponsored video. For what it's worth though, they have no editorial control over this video. They're seeing it the same time you are, and as always, my loyalty is with you guys first. Disclosures out of the way, let's get to the good stuff.
Look at this thing, just, oh my God. I'm so happy I went with white. I just can't, all day long. Look at this. Bifold doors work, everything's nice and good. I should label this not safe for work.
Right away, I can tell you this cabinet is incredibly well built. Every detail, every edge, every component is frankly perfect. Panel fitment is fantastic, and the structure is sound. The white powder coat is perfect, and the black numbering on the rack is sharp and easily readable. Let's dig into the specs and features. The cabinet stands 78.5 inches tall, 31.5 inches wide, and 43 inches deep. This cabinet has a single removable front door with a lockable handle that opens up to expose the 19-inch square hole rack that is flanked on either side by vertical cable management for cleanly routing cables through to the back of the cabinet through evenly spaced openings. Around the back, the cabinet features dual split opening doors, vertical mounting hardware for 0U PDUs, and has a lockable handle as well. And on top of the cabinet are brushed cable pass-throughs for structured cable runs. It's really hard to capture the beauty of this cabinet. It's just kind of something you have to see in person. Also, I want to touch on the shipping aspect of this. If you've been in IT as long as I have, you know how much of a crapshoot it is to get a server cabinet shipped and have it arrive without damage. This rack was wrapped so well, probably the best I've seen for a cabinet, and it arrived in perfect condition. So let's talk about how this solves my problems. The biggest problem is solved by the width of the cabinet, the vertical cable management that it comes with, and the design. The 19-inch racks are recessed on the front to accommodate the vertical cable management. This means, as you'll see here in a bit, network cabling from the switchgear will easily route into and through to the back of the cab where the connections to the servers are made. As part of this build, I'm also going to add some 1U horizontal cable management as well to keep this as clean as possible. Speaking of the build, let's take a look at the rack layout. This is Rackula, an open source rack diagramming and visualization tool that you can self-host and run in your home lab. This is the current layout of the existing rack. When I originally built this out, I started at the absolute top of the cabinet and started putting my networking gear there with the servers coming directly next. In hindsight, I'm not a super tall dude, so putting something at the absolute topmost position of the cabinet became a real pain in the ass, and to do proper work meant I'd have to pull out a step stool, so I won't be doing that again. I should also point out that in my existing setup, I have a giant 12-bay Synology NAS right in the middle of the cabinet. This is going away, which will net me 7U back of additional space. So let's take a look at the new layout side by side with the old one now. Starting at the top, I'm putting a blank 2U panel just to bring the gear closer to my level when working on it. I'm also reorganizing the order of my network gear here by placing my firewall, the Unify EFG, at the top, followed by my USW Pro aggregation switch that was originally at the top slot in the old design. Then I'll add a 1U horizontal cable manager to help keep the SFP Plus Twin-X cables from the ProAg under control. That will allow me to route those cables through to the cabinet's built-in vertical cable management and cleanly into the back, and I will never have to have an ugly brush pass-through again. After that is my 24-port top-of-rack switch, followed by my Keystone patch panel, and then my MikroTik CRS 510 switch, which has forever been hidden in the back of the cab. Now it gets to live up front and center where it belongs. Finally, another 1U horizontal cable manager and another MikroTik switch. The new rack is clearly following the same design concept as the original, with the networking gear on top as before, but this time with appropriate cable management and separations between it and the compute below. Speaking of compute, let's touch on that half next. Separated from the networking stack by that 2U blank, I'm planning to put the Proxinator at the top, which seems fitting since it's my most powerful server and the heart of my home lab. Followed by that is a Dell R440 1U server that is effectively unused and probably should be pulled, but I'm not ready to give it up yet. Then continuing on the Dell train is my R730 XT host, which spends most of its time offline, but fires up nightly to do PBS backups for the Proxinator. Then we cross into Supermicro territory with my primary NAS system SuperSAN, followed by my 4-node virtualization test server. Rounding out the SMC gear is Bertha, a 36-bay SMC storage server that serves as an on-site and off-site backup storage target for all 2GT data and BK's remote data. Below the SMC gear is an empty Sligger case that may be the home of a future local AI project that's yet to take flight. Stay tuned for that video in the near future. I round out the rest of the cabinet with one last 1U horizontal cable manager just because I have it, 8Us of blanks, and my 4U APC UPS. Planning and preparation out of the way, I think it's time to get to work. I first set out to make sure I had all the additional hardware I needed for this project. If you remember from the diagram, I needed two 2U blanks and one 8U blank for the bottom. Finding white 2U blanks on Amazon was trivial, but getting larger white panels was impossible.
The downside of a white cabinet is that it's hard to find white blank panels to put inside that cabinet. You can buy 1U and 2U panels all day long in white, but when you get to the bigger sizes, like this guy right here, it's really hard to find white panels. This is a 7U panel. and it only comes in black, and I have a 7U hole that I gotta fill. So I am going to turn this white. I'm gonna sand it down, hit it with some rattle can white paint, and then we'll shove it in. I'm gonna do it right now.
The unracking and re-racking we did as a live stream after one of our awesome community members requested we do it. I enlisted the help of 2GT John to help tear down the old rack and rebuild the new rack. The entire process for the unrack and re-rack took nearly 4 hours of manual labor. After the racking was finished, John went on his way and I got to work cabling everything back together to bring it all online. I didn't notice this till later, but if you look behind me in this video, you can see the sun is moving as it begins to set. Wild. It took a solid 2 hours to get everything recabled and back up and running, finishing off the long day with closing up the vertical panels and the horizontal cable trays, and finally hanging the door.
All right, friends, I'm done for the night. The network's back up, everything is running. Let me show you what it looks like. So here it is with the door closed. Yeah, looking good. Let me take you for a little stroll into my server cabinet. Start at the top. Cables are all through the cable management, down to my vertical cable management. Got this was, before that was in the back, and got the other switch there up and running. Then there's the gap, the proxinator, all the good stuff there. There's a hole there that I'll fill tomorrow. But yeah, guys, tell me that doesn't look stunning. I think that looks beautiful. Oh yeah, friends.
All right, remember at the beginning when I mentioned some surprises? Let's talk about the first one now, and it's something that is near and dear to my heart. RGB lighting, baby.
Let's talk about RGB lighting. The last cabinet had RGB lighting, and this one being white is gonna look so much more vibrant with those beautiful RGBs. So let me show you how I've integrated the RGB controller and where I've run the RGB strips. Unlike the last cabinet where I didn't have nearly as much width and space, now I can make the controller available. And there it is, just connected with some double-sided sticky tape, and it will stay there and it gives me the ability to control it. In the last cabinet, it had to be hidden inside. This makes it a lot more easier, and it's just hidden behind my vertical cable management. So let's talk about the strips. I have decided to put the strips right near the edge, and they connect and then they wrap all the way up and over and down. All the way to the bottom. And you can see again, right along to where I have them kind of overlap with the connector, so that's one contiguous RGB. Now, when I did this, I also need to make sure that things like this could still work. This is my grounding wire for the door, right? And so it sits just on the edge so that the grounding wire is still attached, which is great. And I can open these panels here. You can see, for example, pop this out. You see they don't come in contact, which is perfect for the strips. So you saw that. Now I've got one more cool thing to show you.
Now to the second surprise. There's one more cool thing I wanted to do special for this cabinet, something that would truly make it my own. I wanted to have the 2GT logo emblazoned on the right side of the cabinet. This is Chandler, super nice dude. He showed up and got straight to work getting the vinyl decal up on the cabinet, cutting out the doors, and cutting through the release clasps so I can still open the sides and get to my cabling. I think it came out so fantastic, and I couldn't be happier. What do you guys think? Okay, I made you wait long enough. Let's see how this thing looks with the lights on in the dark. cabinet with its lighting and the gear has to be one of the most beautiful server cabinet setups I have ever seen. Certainly the best I have ever done. The white cab flawlessly reflects the lighting, further enhancing the light coverage in the cabinet. The Govee LED strips I chose are incredibly vibrant and intense. So intense, in fact, that I'm only running these at 50% brightness. If this doesn't make you want a white cabinet, I don't know what will. Here's a closer look at the cable management on the networking gear. Everything cleanly routes into the vertical cable management or into the horizontal managers and then into the vertical management. It looks so clean and nice. And if we open up the vertical wire managers, we can see the cabling passing down and through to the back. This is the way, people. So let's take a look at the back of the cabinet. The biggest thing here is the space now between the edge of the extra deep servers and the cable and power areas in the cabinet. No more fighting to get power plugged into my PDU, and all the cabling routes easily through the side pass-throughs. Perfect. All right, now let's get to my final thoughts here. Let's start with the star of the show, the TecMojo cabinet. I've worked in infrastructure for most of my career. I've built plenty of server rooms and small data centers, and I've had my hands on a lot of different cabinets. Hands down, I'm most impressed with this TecMojo cabinet by far. Every aspect of this cab was built solidly with fantastic fit and finish. The panels fit perfectly, there were no paint quality or marking issues, the cabinet was wrapped and protected honestly the best I've ever seen when it was shipped, and the quality was just top notch. I'm glad they were willing to sponsor this video, but even if they hadn't, I would have gladly paid for this cabinet. At $1,559 US, with free shipping, you absolutely can't go wrong. I think the results of this build are proof enough. That being said, if you're going to rip out and replace an old cabinet with a new one, or if you're starting fresh from the ground up, the answer to a successful build is planning. Before you even order a cabinet, start planning what problems you currently have and what you're trying to solve. Spin up a Docker container of Rackula and plan out the rack layout, list all the additional pieces and parts you'll need, including blanks, cable managers, hell, even patch cables. Doing that all up front before you buy a cabinet will make all the difference in your build. Also, this was a lot of work. I know I condensed down everything into a nice consumable package here, but just know that depending on what your home lab or business looks like, it'll take you at least a solid day or two to get moved into a new cabinet. I'm super thankful I was able to convince 2GT John to lend his muscles to help make this job go quicker. One last thing, and I mention this kinda as tongue-in-cheek, but I got pretty damn good with the rattle can for this project, and I'd do it again in a heartbeat. You saw me sand and paint the 8U panel that went in the bottom, but I also sanded and painted the removable bezel on the Slagger case as well, and it all just came out great. I remember spray painting as a kid, and the results always came out looking like trash, but spray paint technology has caught up. If you're gonna do it yourself, just take your time and use a heat gun in between layers, you'll do fine. Before we call this video to a close, I have one last thing to do. Follow me. Earlier in the video, when I was walking through the layout planning in Rackula, you might have seen that the new cabinet was labeled Jeff. That name actually came from our community during one of our live shows early on when this project was still in its infancy. They collectively decided the new cabinet should be named Jeff, and who am I to argue with the community? So I hereby christen thee Jeff. By the way, our community is free, open to all, and is full of great people who love tech and home labbing, so consider joining. Thanks for watching this video, folks, and special thank you to TecMojo for sponsoring this video and sending me the beautiful Jeff rack behind me. If you're looking for a new cabinet, go check out their website at TecMojo.com. Also, thank you to our Patreon and YouTube members. You guys help make this possible, and I couldn't do it without you. If you're interested in supporting the channel, go check that out. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.